I'm Arnell, and this is Too Many Hobbies, where I share my hobbies that I'm honestly not that good at with you. Today we're gonna do a Let's Play, or a time lapse depending on how lazy I am in post. But before I jump into that, can I please have a second to vent? I'm here in beautiful sunny Southern California where there are 3 active wildfires within an hour of my house, and we've had 2 earthquakes this week. I am just feeling stressed. I'm very clammy, more than usual, anxious, and I haven't been able to sleep at all. Enter stage left, the best $5 I've spent probably this whole year. Let's be honest, Townscaper. Townscaper is an indie sandbox building game. I think that's a good description. If I were to sum it up, I guess it's like doodling with a city platter. It's literally my dream. The developer, I'm gonna put his name or their name up over here. It's too Nordic for me to even try to pronounce. Says it's more of a toy than a game. I can see that, but for me, it's perfect. I don't like conflict. My favorite part of the movie is before and after. The middle part where the hobbits start fighting people, whew, stressful, baby. I can't handle it. So this is the perfect serotonin releasing game. If you're stressed, get it. Lastly, I know the intro's been long, but we're going to be listening to one of the records from my record collection, Continental Jazz. If you want a full recording of this, I have it in the description. I have side A. Also, I have the high fidelity actual versions, not like the bootleg version that I recorded on my old camcorder. So, links in the description for that. Anyways, do not subscribe, enjoy the video, leave a comment, buy this game. So the game mechanics for this game, they're super intuitive. You click or you unclick. If you click the water, you can make a platform or a pavement block, I guess. And then if you click a pavement block, you could make a building or a structure. And that's it, really. You could click and unclick. What makes this game fun is the way in which you make buildings changes the buildings themselves. So you have to try a bunch of different combinations to get something really, really interesting and unique. And it's so fun to play around with this game and find new combinations. It's like you're solving a puzzle. I tried not to watch too many tutorials about this game before I played it because I kind of wanted to figure it out by myself. But I did end up looking up how to make grassy areas. Basically, you have to make sure that there's a bunch of buildings or structures connected to one another in order to make a field in between the buildings. And I mean, some people online say that they would like a terrain option, and I could totally see that. It's really hard to figure out a way to make a loop of buildings look natural. But I decided to try and make a really cool church courtyard for this build, and I think it turned out pretty good. So basically, I made sure that all the buildings were connected in a way that made the grass, and then I built on top of that. For this build, I'm going to be focusing mostly on the bottom 3 colors on the color bar, the neutrals, so that brown, the gray, and the white. I think in combination they make a really cutesy style. Kind of reminds me of a European city or European village, I guess. I think that the little bushes outside the houses or the pathways, I think that is such an interesting detail that the devs included. And this game right now is still in early access, so the devs are actively working on the game and adding features to the game, but where it is now, it's totally worth a $5. I've spent more on bad coffee. So for this particular island, I wasn't, I didn't go in with any intention. I was absolutely still trying to figure out the mechanics of the game and seeing interesting combos, and I think in retrospect, the build is not the coolest thing I've made in this game yet, but I did learn a lot of tips and tricks. It's funny going through the footage, I see a couple like building elements that I added then took away, and I'm like, oh shoot, I wish I would have left that in, but hey, kind of, I guess this is a good way to reflect. Maybe I could go back and put in all those little buildings that I wanted to keep. So this is the one place that I use, or one of two places I use red, and I think it's just such a bright pop of color. I love that. So I wanted to make one side of the island like old school, or maybe like the original little village or town, and then make the other side across the bay like a more modern area. So I started with this. It's supposed to be a lighthouse, but I didn't really like how it looked as a lighthouse, so I built around it more, and it ended up being like a water tower. And as the build goes on, like this area, I start to think of more of an industrial area, if that makes any sense. I guess as it builds up, it'll make more sense. Across the little harbor, or little bridge, we're gonna have this area with a water tower be our pretend industrial area. Which reminds me, I actually hopped on the Reddit for this game, and I was looking through a couple people's like different projects they're working on, and there already are some really talented people playing this game. This one guy built a real shipyard, or like, I looked at it and it looked like a shipyard and it looked so cool. And this other dude built a mini version of Venice, and like, y'all are too talented. This game like came out 2 months ago. Can we please? I feel so much pressure. I'm joking, but yeah, there's some real talented folks out there that I really want this game to, you know, I'm really rooting for it. Even though it's still in early development, it has amazing reviews on Steam. So, woohoo, go devs. There are a couple features that I think will be super interesting to add to the game. I think, personally, I would love to have transportation. I know that's such a random ask, but what if we had little trams and trains and buses that went around our towns and villages, and as it grew bigger and bigger, they got more complicated. So maybe in the town, they'll have cars, and a big city, they'll start to have buses. That'd be so cool. So cool. I'm a nerd, I guess. So this area that I'm building up now, I was gonna build a cathedral or like a church over here, but it didn't look really good right next to our little fishery, or the factory area, I guess. And I was gonna do like townhouses, but as I fiddled around, I thought to do more modern apartments. I ended up spending way too much time on this area. It's kind of embarrassing, but I liked how it turned out. It just took a while. I think that's just another part of the game that maybe, if I could ask for it to be switched up, is the more modern like buildings are hard to make. Basically, the roof, in order to get a flat roof, you have to put the tiles or the blocks in a certain combination, and it's hard to explain. It's kind of intuitive. When you play the game, you kind of figure out and fiddle around with it enough to figure, you know, how to make a flat roof rather than a tiled one. But it's not like it's not like you could just make any building have a flat roof. It has to be a certain combinations of blocks. I'm just going into different parts of the build and adding more homes and houses to make it look a little bit more well-rounded, I guess. So for this part of the build, I was going to do some more apartment buildings, and I just kind of got bored of that. Instead, I decided to make like, hard to explain this, like a bit of a hill. So what I did was make terraces, or like 3 little platform areas. It's kind of harder to describe what I did. I saw a couple photos of people doing something similar to this, so I thought I would try my hand at it, making 3 distinct levels of buildings and then building on top of that, and then building from the top down, if that makes sense. I think I make sense. Hopefully I do. I don't have much commentary for this part, so I think I'll just let the music play a little. This game reminds me a lot of the backgrounds of Studio Ghibli films, like Kiki's Delivery Service or like Nausicaa. Very whimsical. I think it'd be a really cool challenge to try to recreate one of those scenes. I might just give that a try. I've played like a handful of games when they're in early access, and I've never been compelled to participate in the community around the games. Like, I've enjoyed many games, and I'm just the kind of person that I appreciate what I get. You know, like, I get what I get, and I don't really fuss too much about it. But something about this game, it's just so quaint and relaxing, and I just genuinely love the game. So I'm gonna go on Steam, and they have, you know, a couple community posts and talking about little features that, you know, the devs would like to put in or people would like to see. It's just cool to be part of a community like this. It's so weird. I mean, I play a lot of video games. I'm not very social with it. I usually just like to play Sims by myself or play Terraria, or you know what I mean? But yeah, this is the most random game, and it's made me weirdly social. But the biggest feature I would like to see in this game is definitely terrain coloring. I think other than that, I'm perfectly happy with the game right now. I hope that if you clicked on this video, you enjoyed it, and if you made it this far, it was relaxing, and you're inspired to get this game. So yeah, if you enjoy, like but don't subscribe, and send me DMs with your buildings that you've made in this game or any other building game. I love building sims. They're absolutely my favorite genre of games. And if you have any suggestions, please send them to me.